Hey y'all, it's Katie. I'm so excited to be back. Today I'm talking with State Representative Chris Turner. He is a representative in Texas that represents part of Tarrant County, which is my home county. So I'm super excited to chat with him about this ongoing special session and all that is to come. Hello, good to see you, Representative. How are you?
I'm good, Katie. How are you today?
Doing well. Thank you. So you're down in Austin, is that right?
I am. I'm in Austin right now at the Capitol.
Awesome. I'll hold down Tarrant County.
All right, good. Yeah, please do. Please do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining. You represent part of Tarrant County. Do you want to give a little bit more specific about the area for the Texans that are joining?
Yeah, sure. So I represent Southeast Tarrant County, District 101. So that's parts of Grand Prairie, Arlington, and Mansfield. And so basically Southeast Arlington, Tarrant County side of Grand Prairie, and Central Arlington, including UT Arlington, which is where you and I last talked, I think,
Yes,
at the redistricting hearing, which seems like a million years ago, but it was only last
for
month.
real. Yes, and so the maps, I think everyone by now knows that the maps have passed, but we're still in the middle of a special session, right? That's why you're in Austin. Can you
Yes.
kind of catch us up on what's going on and what's happening down there?
Well, nothing good. But yeah, let me kind of run through what's been happening. So they say the redistricting bills passed last week. The governor hasn't signed them yet, but I do have some good news, some positive news on that. There was a status hearing in the federal court in El Paso today, and they're moving forward with a trial on the new maps starting in October 1st. So that's really good. That's what we wanted to have happen, is to have a speedy court hearing on these maps, and that is looks like it's going to happen. So that's great news. Because these maps are unconstitutional and violate the Voting
Right.
Rights Act. So
Absolutely.
eager to get those into court. Um, so, so yeah, we're the second special session still going on. There have been a few positive things I should mention. The legislature finally passed some bills related to the tragic Central Texas floods that happened on July the 4th. That really impacted Kerrville and other areas in Central Texas, and that was overdue. That should have been the first thing the legislature did, and of course, redistricting was the first thing because we know that was really the Republicans' true priority. This special session and the last special session, and of course, we cannot forget that a lot of what the legislature passed in legislation to address that flooding, Governor Abbott could have done on his own with the power he has as governor of Texas. He chose not to do that. He refused to do that because he wanted to have, and it's just really shameful, I think, but he wanted to have that issue as sort of a fig leaf to disguise what the true intent of these special sessions was, which was to pass this Trump redistricting bill. But I'm glad those bills did pass. But there's been a lot of really goofy stuff at the same time. Today, we had a bill to legalize over-the-counter ivermectin. Ivermectin is a horse medicine. It's used to treat parasites in horses and other animals. Some of my Republican colleagues think it's a good idea for humans to take it, and they want it to be, you'd be able to go to CVS and get ivermectin over the counter at the pharmacy. So those are the important issues that the Republicans are working on today here at the Capitol.
Interesting. I saw some of that debate, and it was really interesting how it's almost like they're superseding Secretary Kennedy in this moment, that they're taking action ahead of him. And like
Right.
the infighting is really funny. And there's no physician introducing that legislation. Like it's also cutting out doctors, which that whole debate just had me laughing. My parents are both physicians, and they are very disappointed, but it was very comical to watch that exchange. So tomorrow, I just read through kind of the calendar for tomorrow, and there are a couple bills I'm particularly worried about. House Bill 7 is one of those, which is basically like an attack on people's access to mifepristone. Do you have like what are your concerns with this bill, and do you expect it to pass tomorrow? And kind of what can we do to help fight back?
Yeah. Well, it's a terrible bill. And I just came from a meeting actually of the Women's Health Caucus talking about this bill and getting ready for tomorrow, and along with another bad bill that's on tomorrow's calendar. And I'm on the State Affairs Committee, which heard the bill in committee last Friday. Unfortunately, there were hundreds of people to testify on both that bill and the bathroom bill, and they didn't get to testify because the committee limited the total bills to 2 hours each, which really shut out the public, unfortunately. But this is a terrible bill. I mean, everyone knows that Texas has a complete and total ban on abortion access in this state, and between the so-called heartbeat bill that passed in 2021, and then what they call the trigger bill, which went into effect when Roe v. Wade was overturned in the Dobbs decision. There is no access to abortion, legal abortion in the state of Texas, and so. What Republicans are doing now is they're going after mifepristone, which is a safe medication. Studies have deemed it safer than a lot of other very common medications, such as Viagra, for instance. And they are trying to shut off any access to abortion care that they can. And they're doing it in a really, really sinister way, in my opinion, in this bill by expanding this basically bounty type of mechanism where someone can report someone and sue them for up to $100,000. And it creates a real chilling effect on providers, on people, maybe family members who are trying to help someone who needs some help, and it's really this is how crazy it is. I asked this question of the bill author in committee: if someone ordered one of these pills and gave it to someone and they took it out of state and used it in a state where it was legal to use, could they still be caught up in this bill? And the answer is yes, they could. And that is the intent, that they would get caught up in it because the medication was sent to someone in the state of Texas. Just think how crazy that is. I mean, this is big government at its worst, trying to control every aspect of people's lives, and that's what this bill is. So tomorrow, I think we're gonna we're gonna fight this. We're gonna talk about how women have died in Texas because of the existing draconian abortion bans. And this legislation is gonna make women even less safe than they already are. And so we're gonna work hard to expose just how bad this bill is. Try to improve the bill through amendments. But the reality is, to your question, I expect virtually every Republican to vote for this.
Got it. And did this bill, a version of this bill was introduced during the general session, right? And it didn't make it to the floor. And this is a toned down version of that, right?
Well, it is. You're right in that there was a bill in the regular session. It did get out of our committee, but it died somewhere else in the process and didn't make it to the House floor, so it did not pass. I don't. It is somewhat different, but I don't know that it's any less bad. Honestly, I think they're both really, really bad
Yeah,
developments.
for sure. Any ban. I mean, it's really, I think, comical. Maybe that's not the right word, but it's really interesting to see this dichotomy of, attacking mifepristone, which is an FDA approved medication, while ramming down ivermectin
Yeah.
today. It's just like a stark contrast
It,
of whatever
it is.
Republicans want it to be.
Yeah. It is quite the dichotomy. Yeah. Today they were talking about we need medical freedom for ivermectin, but tomorrow it's going to be we need to take access to an FDA approved safe medication away from Texas women. So, yeah, the consistency is not their strong suit.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of speaking, again about a bill that I believe makes women less safe is that Senate Bill 8, which is on the floor, which is the bathroom bill. And
Yes.
obviously, we know that transgender people experience violence at a higher rate already. But I'm really worried kind of like about this enforcement of regulating who goes to what bathroom and, how that impacts women. And so this is also for a vote. And if it is voted by Republicans, they have the majority, then it will be likely enacted into law. Is that right? And can you speak to this bill a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. This is another terrible Republican bill. We also heard this in our committee same day last Friday. And I asked several questions of the bill author about, is this going to override local non-discrimination ordinances? How is this going to be enforced? And there's no good answers to any of these questions. The bill pertains to public buildings. So that could be something like a county courthouse or city hall, but it could also be something like AT&T Stadium, which is owned by the city of Arlington, or Globe Life Field, which is owned by the city of Arlington, to use just a couple local examples. But there's examples like that all over the state. So you think about major events like a sporting event, a concert, things like that. These are things that draw tens of thousands of people from the general public, and so it could have real world consequences for people. And the bill has really bad, or vague and unclear language in it. Like a public entity, say a city in this case, would take every reasonable measure to prevent someone from using the bathroom that doesn't correspond to their gender assigned at birth, or however it's phrased. And what does that mean? So does that mean there needs to be a bathroom monitor at every bathroom in a public building to assess what gender someone is? How are they going to do that? And if someone files a complaint, then the government entity is supposed to follow up on the complaint. How are they supposed to do that? Are they requesting medical records? Are they requesting a birth certificate? I mean, it's ludicrous on its face. And this is a problem that does not exist. This is the very definition, this bill is a definition of a solution searching for a problem, because this is not a problem that anyone has ever asked me to solve. This is a policy that the legislature rejected back in 2017 when Dan Patrick was trying to pass it, and Republicans, to their credit at that time, said no, thank you. But this brand of Republicans is really different, much more radical. It's the Trump effect, and so they're hell bent on passing this tomorrow. And again, I think you're going to see Democrats fighting very hard against it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that any of these bills and like that they're particularly like ramming through is like retaliation at all for the quorum break?
Yeah, I think there's an element of that, but I would also add that Governor Abbott put all these items on his first special session agenda. So Abbott made these things a priority back in middle of July, or when he announced this first special session. So he bears the most responsibility for this, because if it wasn't on the agenda, it can't pass in the legislature. But he did that, and so I think, yeah, are there some Republicans who are more gleeful about these things passing as a way to, quote, punish us? I'm sure that thought process goes through their minds, but they're not punishing us. They're punishing their constituents.
Right.
They're punishing all Texans who are going to be impacted by these really bad policies.
Right. And then I know we're running up on time, but there's one more bill that I was particularly watching, which was
Sure.
Senate Bill 15, which is the bill that reduces accountability for police officers. Like I think like the long story short is like if an internal agency, not an independent third party, determines that there is insufficient evidence of misconduct, the allegation is not in the public record. Is this bill still moving in the House? I know Representative Moody made a point of order. Is this bill dead?
It is not dead. It's sick right now, but
Okay.
it's still alive. So you're right. Representative Moody called a point of order. It's a procedural maneuver to derail a bill. He was successful in that. And not to get hyper technical, but as I mentioned, in a special session, only the governor can decide what the legislature addresses. And under House rules, the bill in a special session has to conform to the items in the governor's call or the governor's agenda. And this bill yesterday went beyond that, or 2 days ago, Representative Moody was able to kill it on point of order. What happened then is the governor then amended his call to basically broaden it enough so that this bill would now fit under the House rules. So we expect that to be back. And so, to your larger point, it is a terrible, terrible bill. And there are some things that, simply have no reason to be shielded from the public in situations where there's been an allegation of wrongdoing or an allegation of excessive use of force or whatever the circumstances may be. But that's what this bill would do, is shield information that the public should have access to.
Right, because we're paying for these police officers and these agencies to function, and so some kind of public record is definitely should be allowed. Um, Okay, so I know that we
Absolutely, and there's a balance. You know, you want to protect the due process rights
process.
of a
Absolutely.
public employee, including police officers, but there's got to be accountability too when something bad has happened, and this bill really upsets that balance.
Absolutely. And so tomorrow is a busy floor day.
Yeah.
A lot of these bills will be voted on. So, what is one action that people can take today and tomorrow morning to help you all continue to fight this extremism?
Yeah, well, appreciate that. So, again, I think everyone should always be emailing their state representatives and state senators, although tomorrow the action's in the House on these bills. So, emailing your state representatives, even if you know they're absolutely going to vote our way on it, or even if you know they're absolutely never going to vote our way on it, it's important people hear from their constituents. So that is number one. Second, I want you people need to, as you said, you know, they've got the numbers, they can pass these bills if they want to pass them, and I believe they do want to pass them. But we have to get the legislature to stop passing these types of harmful policies. We need the public to understand what's going on. And like people are busy. Most people aren't following the Texas legislature right now, and I don't blame them. But what you can do and your audience can do is use your social media channels to let people know in your networks who maybe aren't paying close attention to politics, just what the legislature is doing. Is the Texas House going to do anything to, you know, get more money into public schools tomorrow? No, they're not. Are they doing anything to reduce the number of uninsured in the state of Texas and get more people access to health care? No, they're not. Are they doing anything about mass shootings and gun violence, which tragically, of course, is in the news again today with what happened in Minnesota? No, they're not. They're legalizing ivermectin. They're banning abortion for the third time, and they're policing what bathroom people can use. That I don't think those are the things people want from their government, and we just need people to help us tell that story.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you and follow up and support you on social media?
Well, Katie, thank you for having me. It's great to be with you again. Yeah, absolutely. I hope people will connect with us here on Instagram. I'm at Chris G. Turner, and that's the same on X.com if you or Twitter if you want to. Twitter or X, and then Facebook is it's Rep Chris Turner, REP Chris Turner.
Awesome. Well,
So
thank you so much again, and thank you for all of your work. We'll be behind you tomorrow and for the
thank
rest
you.
of the special session. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Katie. Appreciate you.
Have a
See
good
you
one.
later. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.